G, T, S, G, T, S. You join me inside the 2021 Porsche Cayenne GTS. It's a return of the GTS nameplate for this new generation Cayenne, and importantly, significantly, the return of the V8 engine. The Cayenne GTS was introduced in 2007 with a V8 motor making 400 horsepower, but then they went to a twin-turbo V6 that, made more power, but it lost a little of the character, in my opinion. Now we've got the V8 back, and I'm excited. Some history on GTS within Porsche. It was first applied to the 904 Carrera GTS, a race-winning car in 1964, and has since stood for more driver focus than already Porsche's kind of like driver orientation within their respective segments. So within the Cayenne lineup, you've got the base Cayenne and Cayenne S that are really like the daily driver, and then the Cayenne Turbo that's all about the flash and the power. But then the GTS sits nestled within there, and it's a particular look, and it's more focused on driver engagement. It's not cheap though. When you think about what you can buy with Cayenne GTS money within the segment, you can get more powerful vehicles like the BMW X5M competition, or rather just the X5M, and then the Mercedes-AMG GLE 63S, or if you want to use another GTS name, the Maserati Levante GTS. But is this the driver's choice among these premium performance SUVs, while not going full into super SUV Lamborghini Urus territory? That we're going to find out today on MilesPerHr. And there it is, the 2021 Porsche Cayenne GTS. This one is painted carmine red. It is a $3,150 option. And unlike so many paint colors these days, it's not metallic. Get up to the surface and it's just an earnest blood red. I like it. But of course, I saw the word carmine, and my dad jokes instantly kicked in, and I was like, oh yeah, that carmine. Oh, painful. Painful to say, painful to hear, I'm sure. But what was even worse is that car ain't mine. It's Porsche's. It's too bad because I want it. This review, we'll start with the exterior design, we'll go to the interior, then we'll do our driving stuff. That's kind of the layout of these things. So the front end of the Cayenne GTS, actually the whole exterior, there's nothing re-sculpted for the GTS. It's just a black treatment of certain things. So like the front inlets are in a satin black finish. They go nicely with the LED thin daytime running lights. Up here we've got a black housing for the headlights. We get standard LEDs. This one has the optional upgraded Matrix LED headlights for $1,200. And Matrix LED headlight tech in the US is sort of a tease because we haven't fully unlocked all of the functional characteristics of Matrix LED headlight tech. You get that in Europe, not here in the US. But I imagine when that's fully approved, we will just be able to do a software update, Porsche will, and it will unlock the capability of these headlights. But for now, they're styled up nice. And the 4 daytime running light pattern, well, they're not daytime running lights, I suppose. They actually only come on. These are the daytime running lights. The 4 beam pattern with the center LED headlight only comes on at night, but the 4 signature lights are characteristic of all modern Porsches. Moving over here, we do have a lower inlet. These are both functional, of course. This one's going to channel some cool air to the brakes and tires. Large grille opening here. See that front-facing camera? We see you, but you're not overt. That's good. And stepping back, the black treatments are nice, and they do distinguish this from other Cayennes. But the whole exterior of the Cayenne is just, it's smooth, it's inoffensive, handsome, if you will. Looking at the wheels now, these are standard 21-inch multi-spoke spider design, I think Porsche calls it, wheels in black gloss, or satin black rather. And you also get standard red painted brake calipers. So the stock GTS or standard GTS brakes are iron rotors, 15.4-inch front, 14.1-inch rear, and aluminum calipers, 6-piston front, 4-piston rear. You can upgrade, and I actually recommend it, to the Porsche tungsten coated, surface coated brakes, which improve the responsiveness of the brakes and, most importantly, reduce brake dust by like 90%. I say that's important because I've already cleaned these wheels like 3 times in my week with the Cayenne GTS, and that's a lot of times. And the wheels do look so much better when they are clean. So I might go with those for the performance benefits, but also for the lack of brake dust. However, you can also choose fully carbon ceramic brakes for like $9,000. I think the tungsten coated, surface coated brakes are only like a $2 or $3 grand upgrade. That's how I would go. And then they paint the calipers white, which is kind of a bummer because I like the red with the red. But then you can go carbon ceramics beyond that. And that's really just, honestly, if you're taking this vehicle to the track and you really want the resistance to heat fade. But yes, those 21-inch black wheels are standard and they look great. GTS badging here, just behind the front wheel arch. Got a black arm support here and body color matching mirror cap. Black window treatment is also part of the GTS package. Let's look at the silhouette of this thing. Smooth, refined, German. Coming to the back. Rear 3/4, very nice. I think this is my favorite look for the Cayenne. And up top here, we've got this roof-mounted spoiler. It's not just a boring spoiler either. Going down here, it's got these extension arm pieces, some design, some functionality. It's actually like, no, I was going to say something. It's not that. That's not true at all. You can also see up here the panoramic glass roof that is also standard on the Cayenne GTS. But yeah, it's got a nice rear haunch. Coming to the full back end, we see the LED taillights, and these also change up at night. I'll show some footage of this. We've got the 4 lights in addition to the LED daytime taillight back here, and the light strip that runs completely across the tailgate. Porsche in black and Cayenne GTS lettering also in black. That is part of the GTS treatment. But the taillight housings being in black, that's another GTS specific thing. That's not going to be standard on the Cayenne. Looking good. Down here, my favorite part of the exterior is the quad outlet exhaust system. And look at this. They put like these little notches in each of the tailpipes and then give it another. It's actually like a 3-pass exhaust outlet. That's cool for each one. And that's finished in black. Who'da thunk? You got a little diffuser there. I didn't mention the tires, now that I'm looking at like the fat rear tires. So 315 section rear Pirelli P0s, 285 section front. Staggered stance, a lot of grip from those tires. All right, and that is the exterior of the Cayenne GTS. And that means next up, we're going inside. Like the exterior, I like the effortlessness of its curves. Come on inside. And on our way in, we'll see we've got keyless entry as part of the $4,000 premium package. And that means I can leave the key in my pocket, and to unlock the vehicle, I just pull on the door handle. To lock it, put my thumb on that tab. And it's not just for the front 2 doors, it's also for the rear ones. Maximum convenience. Looking inside now, every Cayenne GTS is going to get leather seating surfaces with Alcantara inserts that Porsche had to call something more exciting, so they call it Race Tex. This is now Race Tex. It's no longer Alcantara. And they are 8-way power adjustable as standard with taller side bolsters than the standard Cayenne seats, but the premium package makes these now 14-way adjustable. And then whoever spec'd this vehicle wanted them even more adjustable. So they're 18-way power adjustable for an extra $400, I think. And that means that we've got bolster adjustments, we've got thigh support adjustments, All the good stuff to make sure that you've got a comfortable seating position. This vehicle also has the carmine red interior accent group. So the GTS stitched into the seat back is now in carmine red. The borders are in carmine red. Your seat belts are in carmine red, including the rear ones. And the Porsche floor mat, carmine red accents there. Carmine red accents for the upper door insert, for the lower door insert, along with more Alcantara. But that's standard, the Alcantara. I mean, the race text, my mistake. And red accents for the dashboard. So that's part of the $2,900 question mark, JD, carmine red interior package. We also have an optional race text, Alcantara race text, bordered steering wheel that's heated. And the best part about this is that the steering wheel heating, just where do you think that you would find that? For the heating? Do you think maybe it would be over here or over here somewhere? Or on the steering wheel somewhere? Wouldn't that make sense? But no, they hit it here. This little button, this little trigger right here, turns on the steering wheel heating. They want me to turn on the engine. Anyway, this turns on the steering wheel heating and turns it off. But if you didn't know where to look for that, you would have no idea how to turn it on. Or in my case, turn it off. It was turned on when they dropped off the vehicle, and I'm like, gosh, my hands are hot all the time on this. And it turns out that that was the steering wheel heating. So yes, that's optional for $400 something, I think. JD will correct me if I'm wrong. That steering wheel. And the premium package also includes a 14 speaker Bose surround sound system, 710 watts. That is normally a 10 speaker audio system. It's a good sound system. I mean, and I guess I'm easily pleased, but I'm more pleased that it's part of the $4,000 bundle and it's a good sound system. You can upgrade even further to like a 20 something speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, Bang & Olufsen 3D sound system for some number of thousands of dollars. I think that's overkill. I think the Bose sound system is good. You also get ambient lighting as part of the premium package. I'll show you that with some B-roll. And what else? There's something else. Something else is part of the premium package. Heated seats, heated front seats are part of the premium package. The panoramic glass moonroof is standard in the GTS, so that's pretty cool. Looking at the fit and finish, one thing that's going to be also standard in the Cayenne GTS is this dark aluminum trim that honestly I thought it was black gloss at first until I got close, and I'm like, oh wait, they're like veins in it. It's cool. And that is continued on the passenger side. We also have the tread plate in this dark aluminum, and it says Cayenne GTS on this first one. On the second one in there, it just says Cayenne. Interesting. We're also going to have memory positions for our seats as part of that 18-way adjustment. The door handles are nice and solid, real aluminum for those. And then I already mentioned the Alcantara here with the red contrast stitching, power opening tailgate. Press and hold that. Actually, just press, and it's going to open right up. To close it, you will have to hold it because when you release it, it stops at that position. I like that feature. That's for the tailgate. All four windows are going to be one touch, down and up. And they are dual pane glass windows because we have this extra insulated glass option for like $1,100 for the front glass, including the windshield. Door mirrors are power folding, and that's standard. That's not part of any package. And yes, they fold when you lock the vehicle. Down here, good size cubbies, and this is all in leather. I like that. They didn't cheap out down here. The grab handle is in leather. This is like a classic Cayenne detail. The bowed grab handle. They've got them there and on the center console. That's been that way since the Cayenne was introduced. In we go. Let's widen that out to make it easier. Let's close up that door. And I did forget to mention that, yeah, this is all piano black, but it feels pretty solid. I'm not hearing a lot of the creaks that I sometimes hear when I see piano black. And these switches all feel pretty solid as well. Yes, they smudge instantly, and you're not going to carry around a cloth with you to wipe them every time you go over the window switches. So when you get in sunlight, you're going to see the smudges, and that may or may not annoy you. Looking around the cabin, that panoramic glass roof really just lets in a ton of light. Visibility, you can see, is very good. You've got those little windows near the C-pillar that you can't see much out of, honestly, from the driver's view. You don't get a digital rearview mirror. I don't even think it's an option. I would like to see that. But visibility is very good. Narrow pillars. And as part of the premium package, the one last thing I did forget to mention is blind spot monitoring. Of course, Porsche doesn't call it blind spot monitoring. They call it lane change assist, which is rather confusing because I thought it was part of like an active safety feature group, and it is, but it's not like anything having to do with keeping you in a lane. It's just, hey, blind spot monitoring, okay? So they call it lane change assist. That's for you to know if you're going through the options list. The steering wheel. Porsche's steering wheels are fantastic. Second only to Ferrari, in my opinion, for visual intrigue. They look great. This is all leather covering the airbag. The Porsche crest looks awesome, and it has dimensionality to it, different textures. The aluminum arms all look and feel solid. The Alcantara wrapping, the Race Tex wrapping looks and feels good. This feels solid down here. Even the plastics feel soft and high quality. So love this steering wheel. Because we have the Sport Chrono package, we get this drive mode selector here with this knurled finish for normal, sport, sport plus, and individual modes. So you can just click through them here instead of having to go into the system. And then we get this Sport Chrono lap timer up here. Every time you see that in a Porsche vehicle, you're like, oh, they mean business. I think that perhaps should have been a standard thing for the GTS, considering the GTS is their most driver-focused Cayenne. Yeah, the turbo makes more power, but this one's really focused on the driver. So I think that should be standard, but it's part of the Sport Chrono package. With the Sport Chrono, you get that, you get this, and you also get launch control. So there's that. But nice knurled finishes for that. The toggles to go through, or rather, these are buttons. This is a scroll wheel knurled finish, and it goes through the menu for the right 7-inch digital instrument cluster. The left digital instrument cluster, also 7 inches, is controlled by this scroll wheel. The analog tach, that's classic Porsche stuff, that's still there. You can choose a different face for the GTS tachometer. You could have it in like red or yellow or some other obscure color. I think it looks good like that. Or maybe even, I don't know, maybe now white. White might look cool, but white with black lettering. But that's rad. And then you have a digital speedo down there. On this right-hand one, sorry for the big you can scroll through some information here. So you see the power split for the all-wheel drive system front to rear. We, of course, have our fuel gauge up top. Down below, we have our oil temperature. Now we've got the Porsche dynamic chassis control, how it's working through those electronic active anti-roll bars, G-force meter, lap timer. Navigation takes over both of the little dials there. And telemetry data. And this one's cool. It's customizable here in the infotainment. Let's see if we can go there. Car. Actually, it's down here under set. Go to set, and we can configure the additional right display. Sorry, the very right display, I could have that be an analog clock as I do right now, digital clock there, compass if I want to. And then we can go to the customized view, and we can drag and drop what information we want to show up on this view right here. So it's all reconfigurable, but this one's totally customizable, and that's cool. By the way, good time to mention that if you want even more depth for this interior without me talking, go ahead and watch my walk around, because I don't say a thing and I hunt through every single little menu you can imagine. So check that out. So yeah, that's all the stuff you can show on this one. On the left one, you're limited. You can't change up what's showing up on these displays. You can just change up your information here, navigation data, and your trip information. That's it. So yeah, that's the two 7-inch screens and the analog tachometer right there. This one does not have a head-up display. It is an option. Back to the steering wheel, these controls. Here are your Bluetooth smartphone answering things. This is how you go through some menus. You see the plus sign for the up paddle shifter. Not huge paddles, maybe 3 inches. Kind of wish they were larger here on the GTS model, but they're real aluminum. They sound good, and they have like a really satisfying click. Not a ton of travel, but just a very tactile, satisfying engagement. So that's cool, but I wish they were larger. We have our cruise control system here, not adaptive cruise control, no lane keeping assist, no lane departure warning. As standard on this vehicle, you just have automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, and that's pretty much it. You get parking sensors if you get, like this vehicle has, the surround view camera system. So if I was to turn on the vehicle, which I'm going to have to do because it's getting hot in here. So the key on the left-hand side. And as standard, you're going to get this controller here so you can have keyless. No, sorry, that is not standard. That is part of the premium package where you get the physical key that you don't have to put in to the left-hand side. You get this permanent like key nub that sits there. And why is it on the left-hand side? Well, if you watched any of my other Porsche videos, I explain this, but Porsche takes this cue from all the way from racing history where the Le Mans start, where drivers would have to run to their cars, and to be as efficient as possible, Porsche put the key slot on the left-hand side so drivers could be engaging first gear with their right hand while turning on the car with their left. So just making things even more efficient. You would expect nothing less from the Germans. So that is why Porsche has just kept that for heritage. There's no functional purpose now, just on the left-hand side. Your light mode selections are here. Little neural finish for the air vents. Ooh, for the adjustments, that's nice. And turn signals. And of course we have one touch. And Porsche also hides the voice command here. So you hit that, and it will listen for your voice prompts. Fun discovery I just made. It is that the voice commands, the reason they're not working is because I have wireless Apple CarPlay hooked up to my phone. So whereas normally pressing this will communicate with the Porsche PCM, Porsche Communication Management System, and will give me the option to say any one of like 100 different voice prompts, like take me to this location or make it cooler in here or any of those things. Instead, because I have my wireless Apple CarPlay hooked up, if I press and hold this, which I'm not going to do because it will cut out the video recording, if I press and hold this, Siri will come up on the screen with a prompt so I can communicate with Siri. So that's an interesting discovery and explains why this was just failing hardcore. But anyway, so that's that toggle up there. The power adjustable steering wheel, that is a standard function for the Cayenne GTS. Quite a range of adjustability here. It can come out really, really far and go in quite a lot. But I will leave the walk around for that full demo. Looking here, 12.3-inch touchscreen infotainment is standard on the Cayenne GTS. It's a really crisp display, very responsive, and it also has prompts where, like, under certain settings, if I get close, it will prompt me with additional menu options. The Volkswagen Auto Group does that for a lot of their screens, so that's cool to see here. The navigation system takes over the whole screen, and it's really crisp and super responsive. That's all good stuff there. Go into the car settings, and here's where if I didn't have the drive mode selector, I would hunt in here and go through the different drive modes: normal, sport, sports, I just died, sport plus, and individual. Your start-stop system has a toggle on and off here that I kind of wish was an actual button, because I have to be either on the home menu where there's start-stop or in the car menu for that to show up. So if I was looking at wireless Apple CarPlay, I wouldn't have access to turning the start-stop system on and off. Not that it's the most critical thing in the world, but just one little thing that I noticed. The exhaust system, I can make it louder or quieter hitting that button. I can adjust the chassis height because this is a standard 3-chamber air suspension system. So let me show you it all the way lifted up for the terrain mode. So I'll show you the regular view, the all the way lifted up, and then the low mode. So here's regular, here's terrain. And now here is low mode. This is going to absolutely slam the vehicle. Those are your chassis height adjustments. I can go back here, and we can also change up the stiffness of the adaptive dampers, another standard feature on the Cayenne GTS. 3 modes there. Coming back out, and I can get to my off-road set of drive modes. On-road, gravel, mud, sand, and rocks. That will adjust the traction control system based on what kind of surface you will be navigating. I would not instinctively think Cayenne GTS for off-roading, but I have taken a Cayenne off-road and it was pretty darn impressive. You saw that. The prompt went away, it came back when I got close to it. So that's one of the things that's part of this PCM system. Climate controls, unlike the Taycan, you don't adjust the air vent levels and direction in the menu. You do that manually, which I much prefer, to be honest. Got some Porsche apps. Here is your wireless Apple CarPlay system. And it's pretty responsive, although it was buggy on me once before, and it doesn't take up the full 12.3-inch display. I wish at least like the navigation from here over was all Apple CarPlay, but alas, this is what we get. The assist menu, we don't have many. We just have the pedestrian detection, emergency braking, and the lane change assist, blind spot monitoring. We also have the park assist because we have the surround view camera system, which it's going to reverse. That's another $1,200 option, I think, for this, but it's a really crystal clear system. The graphics are, the resolution's amazing, and just having that 360 bird's eye view is so necessary when you have wheels that you don't want to scrape. So we got a parking view, a wide angle view, super wide angle, wow, and then side views so you don't curb those wheels. That's the surround view camera system, and you get the front and rear parking sensors as well. Sound, here's where you can adjust the Bose 14 speaker sound system, device list, and some independent settings like I showed you for the displays. And if we are in the car setting, I think we can adjust the ambient lighting from here, question mark, control, there we go. So get to ambient lighting, and we don't have a myriad of colors like some other vehicles, but we do have these color options: red, dark orange, warm white, cold white, lemon green, Atlantis, topaz blue. So we got all those colors, and you can, like each of these 3 areas, you can make them different light intensities. Neato. So that's your Porsche communication management system. I like it. I've had a couple bugs here and there after just a right initial startup, so it takes a second to warm up, and then it works beautifully. Nice knurled finish for the volume control. You got this selector here, so if you'd rather not touch the system and you want to, where's an example? Here, let's just go in here. Now I can just kind of work my way through the menu with this selector here. OCD in me is like, but if I leave it like that, that's going to be a problem. So I have to always leave it like that. Then these touch-sensitive controls to bring that up. All of those available there. Dual zone climate control up here with knurled finishes. So satisfying to click up and down your adjustments. Here's your gear selector, or drive selector rather, with reverse and drive all in line, and manual when I go over to drive. Click over. Park button is just down here, and then the e-brake is right there. Here's something funny, right? So you just look at this in this lighting and you're like, oh great, I've got heated and ventilated seats. But rather, I just have heated seats because it's illuminated. When Porsche doesn't, or when you didn't choose an option in a Porsche vehicle, they just dim the lighting on it. So you're just constantly reminded of the options you didn't choose. Oh, I didn't spring for the ventilated seats because I can't select it. But I can click on the heated seats. So it actually is like, it's brighter and you can actually click it. This one you can't, and it's dim. So same thing here. You can kind of vaguely see that's where it says sport, but I can't suggest select that, I can only adjust the damping and traction control. And over here, I didn't option, Porsche didn't equip this vehicle with the automatic parking assist, or the individual mode is there, but they're not illuminated, so I can't adjust them. But yes, front two passengers have heated seats. Cayenne here on this aluminum piece, little cubby here to collect dust, or maybe to put your key. You can just stick in there. Here is your key, by the way. Love that the keys of Porsches are always like clay moldings of vehicles before they come to be. That's cool. Unlock, lock, trunk release, and the Porsche crest right there. Good stuff. Two cup holders, knurled finish for the 12 volts DC socket right there. I mentioned the Racetex material covering the center armrest. Lift that up. This one has optional wireless smartphone charging for $600 and something. Two USB ports two USB-C ports rather, are standard in the front, and two more in the back. We'll get to that in a second, but not a ton of storage here, to be honest. The center console is very shallow, and there isn't anything else here like some vehicles have cubbies there. You just have good-sized door pockets, so you're going to be storing things in the doors and in the glove box. I mentioned the dark aluminum trim is there with piano black borders. This is all leather. That's nice. This doesn't transition to hard plastic. All leather, and aluminum topper for that. Decent sized glove box. And looking up here, frameless rearview mirror, again, is not digital. This is cool. This is all illuminated at night with the ambient lighting. I love that. And this is funny. So this is knurled finish. Dig that. This is your adjustment for your panel, geez, brain fart, moonroof cover, right? The cover. And we're watching it in real time, and it's given me plenty of time to mess up what I was saying because it just takes that long. And it's not perfectly blocked off, so the sun still kind of peeks through. This is honestly a bit of a letdown. One, how long it takes to work, and two, that it's not completely opaque. It's still transparent to some degree. But I don't like the knurled finishes. That's good. And then the sunroof can open either this far. Hello, sun. Boy, you're bright. Or click it again, and it'll open a little further. So nice wide opening sunroof. Again, not the fastest thing in the world. And you do have the wind baffle up there. And then of course you have tilt. So that's the sunroof area. The Alcantara headliner, including on the pillars, is a standard feature for the GTS. Love that. Sun visors, mixed bag here, okay? So in Alcantara, Racetex rather, very nice. Hello. But we have the front visor, and that's great. Love that. This one doesn't slide. So this whole gap right here is plenty of space for the sun to peek through and hit the side of your face. Why didn't they spring for sliding sun visors? I don't understand. This, love the addition of the front visor, but no sliding sun visor is no bueno. This is actually kind of a cheaper plastic grab handle. Wish that was nicer. And that is the front area. Let's go to the back. Let's try that. Oh, I don't need the vehicle to necessarily be on. Just put an accessory mode, okay? I know. It's okay. Looking at the back of the Cayenne GTS. Same as the front, we've got these nice leather seats with the carmine red accents. Mentioned the Cayenne, but it's not full Cayenne GTS back here, just Cayenne. And the Racetex inserts, GTS stitched onto the back headrests, red on the borders. The doors, we get this privacy glass and the one-touch windows. Here's a bummer though. That's as far down as it goes. Even if you get inside and close the door, that's as far down as it goes. I made it go like an extra ½ inch. But it goes up in a hurry. So yeah, I don't like rear windows that don't go all the way down. I understand it's a safety thing, but it bums me out. Same dark aluminum trim in there. Solid door handles. Race text material, the piano black for the window switches. Again, these feel really solid. The build quality in here is fantastic. I have not found anything that squeaks or rattles or anything. It's just all really solid. This, like the front, all leather down here. They didn't transition to harder plastic. That's all leather, the Bose speaker covers. The seat backs here, this goes from leather to injection molding. So this isn't hard plastic, but it's not all leather. This piece down here is leather though. That's neat. The seats are in their most upright position here, and I know it looks very upright. The door openings, by the way, pointing in the sun. Let me show you on this side. My shadow's gonna get in it, but you'll be able to see now. Door openings, fairly wide. There's a bit of a pinch, not too much, honestly, getting to the back seats. It's pretty darn easy, and because this isn't the coupe model, I've got much more headroom to easily duck into the back. Full-size adults will have no problem getting in the back of the Cayenne GTS. I didn't show you this fueling with a specific Porsche fuel cap cover that looks pretty neat, but it's not capless fueling, which I would much prefer, and they want you to fill up with 93 octane. We only have 91 here in California, sorry. And the same Cayenne style grab handles here, that's cool. Hopping inside now. Mentioned the seats are all the way up right here, and I do feel all the way up. Fortunately, I can pull this handle here and recline a fair amount. Here's the differential right here. And so I feel much more relaxed. I love how tall the foot pockets are here, so my legs can slide quite a ways under there, reduce that knee angle. I have plenty of room as a 6-foot adult sitting behind my own 6-foot adult driving position. Here's the headroom situation. I've got it. So that's good. Air vents over here. Knurled finishes there. This is just kind of an open cubby with a rubberized thing. Not quite sure what's going to fit there. Your smartphone's not going to fit there. What would you put in this slot? I want to know. Let me know in the comments. Down here, knurled finish for the DC socket. Here are your 2 USB-Cs. I mentioned those earlier. A drive shaft hump there. But let's see if I can fit in the middle seat anyway. Yeah, I can fit. I mean, this seat isn't reclined. Let's recline the seat. Let's do it. Okay, so both are reclined. And yeah, I can fit. Even headroom. We're good. So, 3 wide, we can fit 6-footers back here in the Cayenne GTS. So there is actually a good amount of back room here. And there's that Alcantara headliner, or race text rather. And back here we've got our reading lights, same plasticky door handle, grab handle. Here's a look at the front of the cabin. Sophisticated, handsome. So that's the back of the Cayenne GTS. Almost forgot that these seats do slide. We are as far back as we can go, but we can slide them forward to make more room for cargo space in the back. And we also have a center armrest, and nicely padded there as well with 2 cup holders. But you don't, as standard, get a 3rd zone of climate control. Would like to see that as a standard thing. You can add it on, but not for the as-tested 130 grand. You have to spend more money. I'm going to leave this door open because getting to the rear of the vehicle, power opening door. If you go with the Premium Plus package, then it'll be kick sensing. So I wouldn't have had to use my hands right there like a savage. And looking inside, JD will list the cargo space here. The Cayenne is not known for having the best cargo capacity in its segment. It's reasonable, but it's not going to be the best. For most small families, this is going to do you just well enough, or couples, this is going to take care of you. We have no additional storage under here, just a space saver spare tire. And this is where your Bose sub goes. We do have these metal tie-down points, 4 of them. And we also get the privacy shield that goes into place like that. Just like the sound of that. It sounds fun. But yeah, this feels high quality. That's good stuff. You can, of course, take that out if you need to. All carpeted around here. And it's nice feeling carpet, doesn't feel cheap. Netting with some additional storage in there. You've got a DC socket. LED lights to illuminate your business back here. air suspension adjustments. So if you need access height, you can hold this button and the GTS's bottom is going to get lower to the ground. See that? So much easier to hike over things, or for shorter folks to lift some stuff over into the back of the Cayenne GTS. And of course raise it back up so that, actually I was shocked, even in its lowest setting, I didn't hit my head on the tailgate cover. So that's all good. Here's my biggest issue with Cayenne GTS's trunk area. How do we fold down the seats? How do we do it? They don't even have controls or rather levers to release them up here on the tops of the seats, so I physically can't fold down the seats from back here. I have to go to the side, pull this lever, very nice aluminum lever, and bring the seats down. Have to do that. Go to the other side and do it again. Bring the seats down. And even when they're down, they're not flat. They're still at an upward angle. This is why utility is not this vehicle's strong suit. But now the seats are down, and of course, just because there's no way to fold them down from back here, there's no way to raise them back here. So if I want to bring them back up, I have to go around on the side and lift them back up. It's just unfortunate because this is not a cheap SUV, and I think that should be, at least folding should be a standard feature of the Cayenne GTS. Raising, fine, I would give that one to you, but folding should be a standard thing. So that is the interior of the Cayenne GTS. Pretty spectacular up there, especially the front two seats. In the back, you've got what you need. Nothing that would be superfluous and nice, like a third zone of climate control as standard, but that's okay. Cargo space, good, not amazing, and no folding rear seats. That's my sum up. But I do really like the digs up here. It feels driver focused, feels sporty, and rather plush, especially with the options on this vehicle, which is it's not heavily optioned. It is 130 grand. And with that, it's time for your big bottle test. We knew it was coming, right? So cup holders, let's try those first. Just too big. Not gonna work there. I lift this up only to laugh because we know it's not gonna fit there. Ha, 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 ha. Door, let's try it. Oh, pretty easily slots in there. Don't even have to do the door test, but just for fun, yes. So we've got a spot, get it up, for our big bottle in the Porsche Cayenne GTS. It passes the big bottle test. And with that done, two last things. Start it up, rev it up, and I ask at this point that if you've been watching the video, you subscribe. Hopefully you enjoy it. Please subscribe. Please hit the bell to get notified, and please share. Really helps a lot. Thank you guys so much. Let's rev it up. Let's drive it. Well, folks, I think we need to start this with a launch because that's just how we start these things. So we go to Sport Plus on the drive mode selector. Then it's as simple as giving it full brake, full gas, let go. Oh, that exhaust note. Oh, the snarl. I love that. Yeah, the thrust was good too. Okay, so we have the Sport Chrono package. Sorry, I'm just gone for right now. We have the Sport Chrono package, which means we had launch control. Porsche says the Cayenne GTS with launch control gets to 60. I'm gonna do it again, why not? In 4.2 seconds, and I think we probably did it. Doing it again, yeah! Oh, I'm so glad the V8 is back. So glad. And this exhaust sounds so good. My voice is breaking. I'm so excited. I did not anticipate this exhaust was going to sound this good. They tuned it specifically for the GTS. And boy, what a markup job they did. Bang up job. So the engine, 4-liter twin turbo V8 that makes 453 horsepower. It sounds so good. Oh man. And 457 pound-feet of torque. 19 more horsepower than the Cayenne S, not a ton, but 52 more pound-feet, and that's significant. We're still quite a ways off of the Porsche Cayenne Turbo's power, 541 horsepower that makes. So this is, you know, solidly a notch down from that in terms of 0 to 60, but it's not slow and so stable in a corner. A few things play into that, and we will dive into them more. A few things playing into there. That is the Porsche Torque Vectoring Plus system that moves us from a mechanical locking rear differential to an electronic locking rear differential. That's one option we have on this vehicle. And then on top of that, we have the Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control System, aka electronic active anti-roll bars. Let's do this again. Let's take this corner. Brakes are great. So stable. I tried to overdo it there. Tried to give it too much power. My goodness, this thing gets moving. Tried to overdo it, and it just wouldn't budge. The tires are great, the Pirelli P0s, so much grip there, but this thing is so incredibly planted in a corner, does not feel like it's gonna budge at all. And those electronic active anti-roll bars are a lot of credit for that, because it's just mitigating all the body roll here. This transmission is great too. This 8-speed ZF gearbox, the shifts are so fast, and I really enjoy the engagement of these paddles. I know I complained a bit. Let's go back to auto mode. I just have to stop shifting and it'll go back to auto mode. That's as simple as that is. I complained a bit about their size, but the engagement is really solid. This is a weird metaphor that just came to my head. It's like when you're crushing a water bottle that's satisfying just feeling and sound, but the feeling, that's what I get when I'm pulling the paddles here. It's not a million miles of travel, but it's just a really satisfying click. Now I've gone back into manual mode just by pulling a paddle. You can fully go into manual mode by pulling the gear selector over, and that will just permanently hold you in manual mode. It'll let you redline it, yes, do dumb things if you need to, but then you just go back to auto mode and you're cruising. And I will take it out of Sport Plus, and let's go into normal mode, because if I ever just need the passing power, I don't have to do the dial. I can just hit the button and I've got sport response. And I get the great exhaust note and tons of power. This thing is ridiculously fast. And I really think enhancing that experience, and if I want to end sport response, just hit the button again. Really enhancing that experience is that V8 motor. It's so smooth, it's got so much personality, and I'm so glad that Porsche brought it back. This is a great engine matched with a really killer chassis. I've driven superbly fast. I've driven the Lamborghini Urus. That's just one that comes to my mind because it really just kind of set a benchmark for me for what an SUV can feel like in a corner. And this is right there. It doesn't have nearly as much power as that, 640 horsepower for that, but all the other fundamentals of a good drive are here within this Cayenne GTS. The brakes are solid, super solid. Don't worry, I made sure no one's behind me. Super solid brakes with a nice initial bite and really strong pedal feel. I can't imagine what the surface coated brakes feel like or the carbon ceramics on this. Just another level, but they're really solid brakes. The transmission, as I said, is amazing. The throttle response is instantaneous if you're in Sport Response or Sport Plus mode, but then now I'm just easing off, and because of that insulated glass that we have here and this just really sensational adaptive dampers that are on this Cayenne GTS, the ride is just so pleasant. It turns instantly into a really mellow daily driver. And the exhaust is even backed off a bit, although not fully. It's really funny. Even at low speeds, you just get the pops and crackles through that exhaust in normal mode. It's just like they can't help themselves. They're like, hey, we made a great exhaust. You need to hear it at all times. And I'm 100% on board. So yeah, the Cayenne GTS, from a driving standpoint, is next level. This is really worth every single penny that you're paying for it. And you are paying a lot. $108,800 to start for this vehicle. And as tested with I like how they spec this because they really focused on the options. As tested, this is 130. Ooh, a nice little corner here. I know I'm in normal mode, but I'm still gonna do it. Oh, it's so satisfying. And really, another thing that I haven't talked about yet is Porsche's tuning of the electronic steering rack. It's so good. Automakers are still trying to play catch up with this. Everyone's trying, but only, I would say, Ferrari has really gotten it. And that's great company for Porsche to be in. But only, I think, Ferrari has really captured the essence of tuning an electronic steering rack for it to feel like a lot of the goodness of a mechanical rack, or sorry, hydraulic rack. Mechanical rack's like another level. Hydraulic rack where you're not getting the each little pebble. You don't feel that through an electronic rack because it's artificial, but they tuned it such that you have such an excellent sense for how the tires are feeling that it becomes a driver's car again. And that's weird to say about an SUV, but they applied the same knowledge that they put towards their 911 towards this Cayenne GTS, and it shows. This is just a wonderfully, beautifully satisfying driving experience. Now, of course, we need to frame this by discussing competitors. So if you're looking to spend $108,000-ish, you'll also be considering vehicles like the BMW X5M, just the standard M that makes 600 horsepower, starts at $106,000. 0 to 60 for that one's gonna be 3.7 seconds, so quicker than this. Gobs more power. The top speed is 155 for the standard X5M. If you go with the competition, it'll be 174, but then you're spending another $10,000. And the fuel economy is about the same, 17 combined MPG. I didn't mention the fuel economy for the Cayenne GTS, but it's 15 city, 19 highway, 17 combined. You'll also consider the Mercedes-AMG GLE 63S. They don't just have a standard GLE 63 at this point. You have to go with the S, and so you have to spend $116,000, but then you'll get 603 horsepower. The 0 to 60 is going to be 3.6 seconds. The top speed is going to be 174 miles per hour, and the fuel economy is a little worse. It's 16 combined MPG. Then the other GTS, the Italian, the Maserati Levante GTS, that's going to start at $123,000. So you're spending it for that Italian style, but you're also getting 550 horsepower from that V8. And the 0 to 60 time is quicker than the Cayenne GTS at 3.9 seconds. The cargo capacity for the Cayenne, or for the Maserati Levante GTS, is actually worse than the Cayenne GTS, whereas the BMW and the Mercedes have better cargo capacity, and the fuel economy for the Levante GTS is worse at 16 combined MPG. So if you look at it from a numbers game, apart from fuel economy, the Cayenne GTS doesn't really make any sense. But then you climb behind the wheel and everything just falls into place because no one else is doing, here's how I would frame it, right? Like the BMW X5M competition that I drove, the AMG GLE 63S that I drove, it was so impressive what they were doing because it felt so wrong. It was like, these vehicles shouldn't be able to do this. Whereas the Cayenne GTS feels like from point of inception to the finished product was made to do these things, was made to handle corners like that, and certainly was made to sound like this. It sounds so good. So it's a difference from start to finish with the Cayenne GTS compared to the other rivals. This feels like a sports car that's wearing an SUV body, whereas the other ones feel like SUVs that are trying and successfully acting like sports cars. That's the difference. And that's why I think this has a very particular buyer, but that buyer truly appreciates driving dynamics and truly appreciates the distinctness of this Cayenne GTS. I love the way it looks. It has all you need in terms of creature comforts. The fit and finish of this vehicle is sensational. It's so good. No cracks or no rattles or creaks, can't even say the word. It doesn't have it, so you don't worry about it. It's just really well built. The tech is great. If you want other options, if you want your backseat passengers to have ventilated seats and all that kind of stuff, then you can add them on. It's just gonna cost you extra money, but that's not what I think the Cayenne GTS buyer is. I think they spec this vehicle how the GTS buyer would spec it, with just paying for those performance pieces, the electronic active anti-roll bars, I didn't mention it, but rear axle steering system that gives you more stability at speed and a sharper turning radius at lower speed. What else does it have? The Porsche Torque Vectoring Plus system. I think they spec'd it how a buyer would spec it. And so you're looking at 130 grand, and it's a lot of money, but I think it does everything that its competitors do, and then it does everything else that you want a Porsche to do, like handle a corner the way this does. It's worth the money if you appreciate what it's offering. There you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you again next time. Until then, I'm just gonna do sport response and get some more great exhaust noise. Oh, so satisfying.